Nuance with Nikki, the nitty gritty, even if it's shitty. We're talking about the Gayton Mckenzie K-word controversy. Let's find out what happened.
This thing you can get an elementary student, a kindergarten student that is good to find out what I'm going to tell you now is the truth or whatever.
Ma'am, what is an elementary or kindergarten student?
Well, Nikki, those are the American words for primary school pupil and creche child.
So, does Gayton think we're in America?
No, I'm not a racist. I am the least racist person you have ever interviewed. That I can tell you.
In my entire life, I've never called anybody the K-word. Never.
Ma'am, what does Gayton Mckenzie mean he never said the K-word to anybody?
I think he means he only put it in writing.
Oh, okay, on Twitter in 2011.
Good girl, Nunu.
Ma'am, when did putting something in writing become better than saying it?
Never, my darling, because all adults know that's absurd.
Ma'am, was anybody in 2011 confused about whether or not we should use the K-word?
No South African worth his salt is oblivious to the weight of the K-word, no matter what Gareth Cliff tries to tell us.
Gareth Cliff?
It's time for Monday's non-controversy. Gayton Mckenzie went after some podcasters for stereotyping coloured people, and his critics then went and mined his Twitter, which is what people do now, to find instances of him using the K-word.
Ma'am, why is it okay for Gayton Mckenzie to criticize what people say on the internet about coloured people, but somehow it's not okay for him to be criticized for using the K-word?
I don't know, Nikita. Maybe we should ask Kenny Kunene.
Kenny Kunene?
Yes, my love. Kenny Kunene and Gayton Mckenzie from the PA made it very clear that they have a problem with black on coloured racism.
You mean only 9 months ago?
It is clear that the lady has got a view on colored people, that they are uneducated, that all that they know is gold rings, that they don't have licenses or cars.
Now, class, who can tell me what's the word for the behavior they're criticizing there?
Stereotype!
Very good, little Nikki.
But, ma'am, isn't this also a stereotype?
He claims this is not racist. A K-word's sole ambition is to collect a certain number of cattle to buy a wife with and then to pass his life in indolence and nakedness.
Ma'am, I've got another question. Why do people have a problem when black people value cows in South Africa? Aren't cows a symbol of wealth in every single culture, even dating from ancient Greece, and even based on the farmers here, many of whom, as we know, are white? And also, ma'am, isn't it called a bull market when the market is going up? And ma'am, wasn't there also a bull when I went to New York to Wall Street? So in other words, what I'm asking, ma'am, is do they have a problem with black people having wealth and valuing wealth the same way?
Words like black diamond basically means you are a better K-word. Stop naming and giving nonsense titles to blacks, okay?
why does that justify somebody being called a K word? I mean, especially because of what the K word means. Oh, ma'am, I'm so confused.
Actually, Nikki, those are all valid questions and they show critical thinking. I don't think anybody here likes those things. Now, talking about bulls, Gayton Mckenzie tweeted, "Bullshit when we coloureds say the K word, it's the same as when we call other coloureds bushies. What do you say to that? What do you guys call that?"
I know. False equivalence.
Why?
Because he's trying to draw a parallel between a word like bushy, which some coloureds have actually owned, and when you get to the root of it, merely means bushman, which some Khoisan people are actually okay with being called. And when coloured people say, "Hey, don't call me that," most people actually agree with that. He did say when coloured people call each other that. It's similar to when people in America own the word N-word. That's the same thing. At no point in South African history have any black people, and by that I mean black, coloured, and Indian people, been okay with being called the K word.
And can you name a particular person?
Yes, ma'am. I can think of one coloured person who doesn't like being referred to or seen as a K word.
Because I thought white people just see me as a kafir. When they speak, they see a kafir. I thought that, and I had to decaffinate myself from that thinking.
And is anybody oblivious to this?
No, ma'am. No South African is oblivious to the fact that the K word is totally unacceptable, particularly not South Africans of a certain age, no matter what Gareth Cliff tries to tell us.
In his Twitter, which is what people do now, to find instances of him using the K word and have decided this is a cancelable offence, that he's broken a written and unwritten rule, and that he must be immediately sent into the land where no one can return from.
Ma'am, is Gareth Cliff really trying to pretend that this is some kind of unwritten rule, or like no South African ever has been held accountable for saying the K word? Really?
Sketch some other news now, and police are trying to track down convicted racist Vicky Momberg. This after a warrant was issued for her arrest a few months ago. Momberg failed to report to the Randburg Magistrates Court in August 2 years ago. You'll remember the former real estate agent was found guilty on 4 counts of criminal injury for calling a black police officer the K word 48 times, following a smash and grab incident in 2016.
Okay. I, Adam Katsavalis, acknowledge and admit that I, on the 12th day of August 2018, made a selfie video of myself while on a beach on holiday in Greece, where I made a racial slur using the K word with reference to black South Africans in general. When I watched the video, not by choice I might add, but in certain circumstances I've had to, for example with my lawyers, I am truly disgusted, horrified and ashamed of my behavior. I now, more than ever, in the course of having to confront and take responsibility for my actions, which has forced me to consider deeply issues such as dignity and humanity, am acutely aware of how profoundly dehumanizing and hurtful it must be for black South Africans to be referred to by the K word, with all its connotations.
This is a political campaign driven by EFF.
Mr. Mckenzie, when did you lend the EFF your phone so that they can tweet on your behalf?
They have gone back to, do you know they went back 11 years?
But doesn't that mean you've had 11 years to make this right?
People claim it is causing them harm that Gayton used this word. I don't believe people who say that. I just don't believe it. I think they are performing. I think they're attention seeking. And I don't believe that a slur or insult should be enough to stop anybody.
And I don't believe you. What I see is the thinly veiled attempt to contribute to a culture in which it's okay for a colored person to say the K word, so that the next step will be, well, why can't we as white people say it? Because you let him get away with it. And then what's the next step? Don't gaslight people.
History in this country tells us anything, it's that the people who fought the struggle didn't let a word get in their way. Of course, they were made of stronger stuff than most of the slacktivists you'll find on social.
Ma'am, which history class did Gareth Cliff go to?
I have fought against white domination. And I have fought against black domination.
But I have never had a problem with the K word. So don't let my 27 years in prison inconvenience those who want to say it with impunity.
What Gayton Mckenzie has done to our country can never be undone. We as a country are now trying to figure out whether or not having a really diverse ancestry allows you to say the K word without punishment.
I'm black, I'm colored, I'm mixed.
Now, class, is anybody confused about Gayton Mckenzie's complexion?
No. I'm confused, ma'am, because if we say Gayton gets away with this because he's a dark-skinned colored person, then why didn't she get away with this because she's a light-skinned black person?
That's right, my angel. It sets a dangerous precedent. Well done.
Me to be using the K word and to be racist. Are you saying that I hate my mother? Are you saying I hate... I'm even getting emotional. Are you saying I hate Marang because I'm a godfather to Marang? Are you saying that I hate my godchild? Are you saying I hate Kenny Kunene? Are you saying that
Now, class, what is it called when a mixed race person is negative about one of the race groups they come from?
Internalized racism.
And do you assume that he doesn't love Marang?
No. Ma'am, I think he could do a better job of showing Marang love with the situation.
And how's that?
Well, he could treat Marang the same way he treated that other child who he drove to rugby.
2016, the most powerful man in this country was Julius Malema. President Jacob Zuma was telling me a story. He said he spoke to Obama. And he told Obama something. Obama said to him, "Yeah, I hear what you say, Mr. Zuma. What is Julius saying?" So Julius was very powerful, but he said one line. And please go Google this. He said two things. One line, he said, "I was about to vote for you." Vote was he mean to remove Ethel Trollop in Nelson Mandela Bay. We've agreed. We had a deal. And he said in his press conference he's going to cut the throat of whiteness. That moment, my neighbor asked me to drop his son at the rugby game. That boy adores me, was 8 years old. He adores me. And I looked at him in the mirror and I said, what will this boy think of me?
He's also now claiming that he didn't say anything racist because there were no specific victims. He didn't call a specific person the K word.
In my entire life, I've never called anybody the K word. Never. Where's the victims?
Wait a minute.
Now, class, what have we learned?
We've learned that ordinary citizens are constantly held accountable for doing certain things, but no politician will be held accountable.
Like who?
People like the EFF and the PA and the ANC get away routinely with saying racist things, but we better not do it.
And
We've also learned that there's no point in setting an example for children, so I might as well smoke cigarettes in this creche.
anything else?
We've also learned that Gareth Cliff thinks that Kwaito is rap.
It's been used in songs, rap songs in South Africa.
Don't call me a guy.
See, young people today, or people who didn't grow up in apartheid South Africa, might find this song cheesy, but this song was blasting in the townships in the 90s, and I remember it. What I remember in South Africa is that time in the townships, black townships, colored townships, was the sense of relief. It was the first time that black folk felt that they could speak back to white supremacy and say, you don't use that word when speaking to me, right? And so I'll put a link in the description to it. But Gareth Cliff is trying to spin it off as though it's the same as the N-word in America, as though black people in South Africa have somehow owned it and made it okay, but just have a double standard. And that is patently false. That is not the case at all.
Version of the N-word, right? But it's almost worse than the N-word because in America, black people own the N-word. They're like, okay, we're going to take it, we're going to use it in hip-hop, we're going to make it cool. In South Africa, people were just like, no.
Some YouTube comments from people. Lighthouse says, as black people from all backgrounds, we just don't use that word. We just don't go near it. Someone else says, what is he on about? Even black South Africans don't use the K word. In social settings, if someone randomly whips the word out, they are definitely side-eyed. Saying you are black and hence can use the word is totally and completely wrong. Lerato says, it's discomforting to even think of the existence of the K word. Raven Black says, there is no such thing as reclaiming racial slurs. We never claimed them to begin with. They were placed on us without our consent. That is violence. Who in their right mind would claim that? Highball. And so someone else here is saying that even if you are mixed, the K word is rude for everyone to say. Okay. Oh yeah, and one more thing, in case people here on Brenda Fussie's internet want to pretend that they're oblivious, a protest song against the K word is not the same thing as an endorsement, specifically when the lyrics say, don't call me that.
This is just not a way to deal with rational people. And if that is what you believe, then...
And rational South Africans do not tolerate that word. Sorry. It's a very slippery slope, and if you believe that it's acceptable, we're going down that slope.
And you've got to accept that you're irrational. People who think that the use of a word magically puts them into a category of untouchables, like they believe Gayton Mckenzie now is, those are just like racists who think that the skin tone of a person puts them into a category of superiority or inferiority. This is...
So people who have a problem with the racist slur are just like racists. Wait, what?
Wait a minute. Ma'am, are there cigarettes in this creche?
A sticky and uncomfortable conversation. One word did harm. 3 words have the potential to fix it. But it doesn't have all the gray areas and the loopholes that everybody's trying to pretend it does. There has never been a South Africa in which saying the K word or calling somebody the K word is acceptable. End of story. Gareth Cliff, you have fallen off the cliff. In die granse van ons geskiedenis gaan vir jou beantwoord. That was an allusion to our anthem, where it says, waar die granse antwoord gee. The cliffs of our history will give you an answer. Okay? I recognize that in doing this harm with this one word, Gayton Mckenzie has put egg on the faces of many people who may have shown him some support or, in my case, given him the benefit of the doubt, right? There are going to be those who go, but why don't you call out the EFF? Because I'm not related to any EFF members. I had a PA member in my family before she died. right? And it is my job to also call out my own race group when they behave poorly. I have no right to be calling out Americans or Britons or the rest of the African diaspora for any of their racism if I do not stand against any kind of racism here in South Africa, right? This has been totally unacceptable. I am well aware that there are going to be those who conflate my message where I spoke out against illegal immigration, and actually used some of the PA members, Gayton Mckenzie included, in my videos. They're going to conflate me with people like him. And those who don't watch my channel enough may mistake me for someone who agrees with that sort of thing. And that's why I'm bringing this up even a month later. I have to make it 100% clear. And I do think much of my work does speak for itself and will say so. I just wanted to make sure there was no confusion at all. Okay? One word did harm, 3 words can fix this. 3 words can at least address it, right? I have always boldly spoken out on this channel about a South Africa that handles its racist conversations with honesty, that handles it with integrity. Our country was built on people who can do introspection. Our country was built on people who have the courage to face the racist in the mirror, right? Every single time we have regressed since the new South Africa started, it was because of people who refused to be accountable. Are we going to do what's right or what is easy? Are people going to try and muddy the waters here? The right to say the K word, or at least the chance to get away with that, is not a nuanced conversation. And so what Gayton Mckenzie has done, because he has set himself up as a hero of the colored people, whether or not those colored people agree with him or those colored people are supporters of him, right, is done harm towards black and colored relations here. And now we're headed down a slippery slope where some people are questioning, is it okay based on complexion or based on being part black? No. I haven't gotten into the levels on which this is religious abuse, but I will call the PA out. And I'm going to say this. You guys have set yourself up as a Christian party. My mom showed me many videos of you guys praising and worshiping, right? And this is the sort of thing that has contributed to me not being a Christian. Not the PA. Long before I knew anything about the PA, or long before there was a PA, it was that I have seen very little evidence of God changing other people's hearts. I know what it's like for people to treat me as if my sins were weightier, right? And the K word has the same undercurrent. It means unbeliever. It means savage. So it's Afrophobic. It's a form of religious abuse. It implies that a person is outside of God's grace. You know, this reminds me of the time my best friend's uncle said, God made the white man, God made the black man, but the devil made the colored person, right? This reminds me of the kind of thinking that is rooted in this nation, because in this nation, when there was slavery of the colored people, that was quote unquote okay, right? It was okay so long as they weren't Christian. That's where the K word had its origins. That kind of thing. In being baptized, many people had to reject their African spirituality and let go of that. Many of the Khoisan had to do that, right? The unbaptized African or the unbaptized brown person, even if they were brought there, was seen as innately violable and innately rapeable. That is the blood that this word has on its hands. And that's why South Africa does not toy with it at all. So if the benefit of the doubt that I gave the PA for my mom's sake makes me come across as if I agree with any of this kind of rhetoric or any of these kind of values, I will say the 3 words, which up until now, the PA and Gayton Mckenzie have failed to say. I'm sorry. It was wrong of me. Right? To translate that into Christianese, you confess with your mouth and repent, which means you change your behavior. There are many people, black people included, that are still supporting Gayton Mckenzie based on his actions, and they go, you know what? He does deeply love us. Be that as it may. Love does not allow its brother to get away with being the worst version of himself. If you love Gayton Mckenzie, PA, then your Bible says the blows of a friend are sweeter than the kisses of an enemy. Do you love Marang enough, Mr. Mckenzie, to set your pride aside and just to own this? Because I actually see a lot of PA people, black people, who are actually willing to forgive you, right? Do I think that's fair in a country that ordinary citizens don't get away with it? No, I don't. No, I don't. But that's between you and the PA members. But I'm just telling you, as a non-Christian, I am watching you guys. This is a beautiful opportunity for you to be the only Bible I read. I'm just saying that. But I'm not optimistic about how that's going to turn out. Okay, so that was my bit. Nuance with Nikki, the nitty gritty, even if it's shitty. Leave a comment in the video. No matter what you feel, even if you want to criticize me, I'll take it. And thank you for joining. Ciao for now. The devil works hard, but no word has ever worked harder than the K word has to get into the mouths of South Africans. So a reminder to all of us. Is it right to sing Nkosi Sikeleli Africa in an Nguni language when you use a word which says that black people are essentially outside of God's grace, are essentially unsavable? Can you sing Morena Bulukwa Sechaba sa Yesu, which means God, end the fighting and the strife if we are going to be fighting about what is essentially kak? South Africa, cut the crap, cut the kak, cut the shows of oblivion, okay? We are better than this.
South Africa, South Africa.